Yesterday's trading day was supposed to be quiet and sluggish for the oil market, but something went wrong. In the early European session, the volume of long positions in the US dollar began to increase. Initially, their growth did not seem so drastic. However, after the American trade opened, this tendency became quite apparent. At the same time, there were no drivers for such a dramatic rise in the greenback. What will happen to oil quotes next? Since the OPEC Plus summit has been postponed indefinitely, no new reports or rumors about the volume of oil production are expected in the near future. Notably, market participants remain deeply concerned about a looming shortage of crude oil. It is this assumption that were driving up oil prices. According to market experts, this scenario is still relevant. After all, no decision on crude output was made. Thus, oil prices are expected to keep rising. Moreover, the market seems to be recovering as the quotes have resumed their bullish run. Yesterday, Brent crude fell by about 4%, pressured by a stronger US dollar. Undoubtedly, this movement can be considered a steep change in the quotes in a short period of time. The variable pivot point met sellers at $74 per barrel. Then the benchmark began to recover. From a technical point of view, the quotes are likely to return to the level of $76 per barrel. Perhaps after reaching this mark, Brent crude will continue to trade in a narrow price range. As for WTI crude, the level of $72.90 acted as a pivot point. As a result, the volume of long positions started to increase. So far, the price has recovered to $74.50 per barrel. By the end of the trading day, the US benchmark is expected to approach $75 per barrel. Yesterday, the dollar-ruble pair managed to advance to 74.80. However, after such a sharp price change, the quotes entered overbought territory. This in turn led to a pullback and then to stagnation. In order for the price to extend gains, it needs to consolidate above the 75 mark. Otherwise, the pair may pull back and go in the opposite direction. The euro-ruble pair's dynamics are similar. The quotes met resistance at the level of 88.40. If the price fails to consolidate above the 88.5 mark, it's likely to turn around and move towards the level of 87 rubles per euro. Like other currencies, the ruble could not stay away from the global interest of world markets in the US dollar. However, there were no drivers for such a surge in the American currency. Of course, the outcome of the US Federal Open Market Committee's recent meeting supported the dollar, but its steep rise hardly stemmed from this news. Nevertheless, the greenback is expected to pull back sooner or later. Thus, the ruble may strengthen significantly throughout the day. However, the Russian currency is unlikely to return to the values posted earlier. That's all for now. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.